Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this, I guess, first or one of the first session of the Social Finance Vibe. We would like to discuss the Social Economy Action Plan, and namely how to make the best of the initiatives within this plan, so that your organizations can benefit from it. And the idea is that we will provide you with an overview of this plan, and our experts will also show you how to navigate the Social Economy Gateway platform, so that the visibility of your organization can be enhanced, so that you can search for new financing opportunities, so that you can partner with other organizations. We will then talk about the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy, and finally we'll discuss with you how your organization can align with the Social Economy Action Plan. And the idea is that the session will last 1 hour. You can raise your hand in case you show up at this session and have questions. Unfortunately, this platform cannot make you visible, but you have the opportunity either to leave a chat message, ask a question through the chat box, or raise your hand, and then we'll be able to allow your mic to function, and you can ask your question. We have a group of great experts, a representative of the European Commission and OECD. We have with us today Brigitte Fellay-Brugnot from DG Employment. We have Margit Perko, also from DG Employment, David Halabinski from OECD, and Karel van der Porten from DG GROW. And I would like to start this session with Brigitte and ask her to give us an overview of the Social Economy Action Plan, its key objectives, key priorities, and key components. Brigitte, the mic is yours.
Hi everybody, very happy to be in this session today and to be able to present you the kind of the overview on the Social Economy Action Plan. Gregor, if you could share the slide.
Yeah, I'm just getting.
I just have a black screen at this stage. Yeah. So I'm Brigitte Fellay-Brugnot. I'm the head of unit for social and inclusive entrepreneurship in DG Employment. Great. If you could just, is it possible to have it a bit bigger? Maybe that would be nice. But okay. Otherwise, we'll do like that.
Yeah, but you carry on.
So I'm the head of social and inclusive economy in DG Employment in the European Commission. And so together with DG GROW, we are already in charge of the Social Economy Action Plan. Great, thanks. That was adopted by the College almost 2 years ago now, in December 2021. So this slide is just an overview of first the timeline that we are following, and also of the action plan itself. So as you will see, adoption was 2 years ago. And it's really a roadmap that we have defined with a vision to where we would like to go by 2030, which is what you see at the bottom of the slide. And it's quite encompassing because it covers more than 60 actions with more than 20 Directors General involved in the European Commission. And I won't walk through the 60 actions, but we'd like to flag a few of them. And to maybe explain the logic. So you will see some of the actions, some of them are listed on the right-hand side of the slide, while the main areas, which really structure the Social Economy Action Plan, are on the left-hand side. So as you can see, we have 3 main areas, which are really developing framework conditions for the Social Economy Action Plan. And then there is another work stream on opening up opportunities. and then more of a horizontal one on recognition and awareness raising. So on the one of the main deliverables of the Social Economy Action Plan was actually just delivered this year with the Council recommendation on developing social economy framework conditions. So you see it at the bottom, November 2023, actually the proposal was made by the Commission in June, and we just got political agreement from the EBSCO Council on the 9th of October, and it will be formally adopted probably next week by the EBSCO Council. But anyway, all member states already agreed. And it's very important because it's the first time we have a legal act, especially focusing on social economy. And it encompasses a comprehensive set of recommendations. The first and foremost being for member states to either adopt comprehensive strategies for social economy or to adapt whatever they have, which already relates to social economy, because as you probably know, one of the main features of social economy across member states is that it's quite uneven in terms of development. So the idea with this Council recommendation and the whole action plan is really to promote it throughout all member states, because we believe there is a lot of potential here for employment and social inclusion and economic growth that's put the people and the planet first. So this strategy should be prepared now by member states. They have 2 years to do that. The idea and recommendation is really that they involve all stakeholders from the social economy sector in the design and then afterwards in the implementation of the strategy. And for that, we will obviously support them. So this, as you can see, so the Council recommendation is really part of the green block on framework conditions. And the idea is to work also on the opening opportunities. So it covers a lot of different items and policy areas, like access to funding, and then also working on more horizontal topics like procurement and state aids. I won't go through all of them, also because some of my colleagues around this table will cover them more in details. What we want to, as the European Commission, is we want to support obviously the move. So you will see as more or less in the middle of the actions that we propose, workshops for public officials. That's really for us to do this capacity building to help public officials devise a strategy. So it's going to be the topic of our next workshops, actually. And we already run one this year on state aids to help them really better understand. There's already a lot on the table, actually, in terms of state aid opportunities for social economy sector. It's just that people don't always dare using them because they're afraid that maybe if they did not apply strictly the legal condition, then beneficiary will have to pay back. So we have also here some work in terms of guidance and reinforcement of the capacity to do. So that's typically what we do under the workshops. Then I would like to focus on another area which is very important because it's always one of the first that come when we talk about barriers to develop social economy. It's access to funding. So there, I mean, we have not started with the Social Economy Action Plan. We have already started some years ago, and notably under the previous multi-annual financial framework with the EASY program, where we already at EU level supported through financial instruments. So we're talking mostly about repayable finance there, but also so support to microfinance and to social enterprises. And also we were accompanying the development of the ecosystem by supporting through grants business development services, for example, for the applicants. And despite this, I mean, we have seen a huge increase under the previous multi-finance framework in terms of the ecosystem and the funding available, but still the funding need remains. And it's also still a barrier because conventional, traditional financial intermediaries see the sector as riskier, and so they are not so keen on lending to this sector. So that's why we have devised also guarantees which help reduce the risk which is related to lending to this sector. With this new MFF, so from 2021 to 2027, we have now the InvestEU, which you see at the top of the red boxes in the middle, which has earmarked 2.8 billion for social investment and skills until 2027. So the financial products are now running. It's mostly again about guarantees and loans and for investment as well. Microfinance and social enterprises are very well served there. And actually, we see a lot of demand for the product. And still on the side, I mean, on the access to funding, we still have some dedicated or indirect support through the ESF Plus, so European Social Fund Plus, where we have now an easy strand, where we kind of continue supporting business development support or reducing the transaction costs for the support to financial intermediaries. So that was, I mean, for access to funding, it's really an important block on which we keep on working because we see it still, we still need to develop the whole ecosystem there. Another important dimension is social innovation. And there you see notably, so on the totally right-hand side of your screen at the top, social innovation competence centers. So under the ESF, the European Social Fund, we really have put a priority on social innovation, either directly with the member states under their shared management programs, but also there is now a new initiative which is called the European Competence Center for Social Innovation, where we really want to support the transfer and upscale of social innovation across countries, across sectors. That's why we have now this European Competence Center, which is meant to work hand in hand with the national competence centers that we supported under a previous call in 2020. We launched a call to really support the setting up of national competence centers for social innovation. And actually, we got 6 projects, but they were transnational, so they are covering 23 member states. And it's really, again, this part of really working on the ecosystem, so that we have all the pieces of the puzzle, because it looks a bit like a puzzle. We have all the pieces fitting together, so at the end of the day, we could get results for all the stakeholders. An important stakeholder, obviously, for us are the social entrepreneurs. And there I would like to flag very quickly one of the other important activities we launched, which is the YEPA. So I'm going to the other side of the red boxes, bottom left. So the YEPA, thank you, is the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy, which we launched in March 2023, and which has as an objective to really support a better policy making for youth entrepreneurs, notably social entrepreneurs, but not just. And it goes through a series of capacity building events that gather together the policymakers, the European level networks, support organizations, and also youth entrepreneurs themselves, so they can really voice their concerns, their barriers, and what works well. And so we will work over that for 3 years and hope to come up really with better policy making at the end of the day. And I will stop there because David Halabinski from OECD will tell you more about that, because it's a joint initiative between us and the OECD. Just to flag that the next series of workshops in February will focus on social entrepreneurship. So that's really something which is dear to our hearts. Then, you also have around the table our colleague from DG GROW, Karel, so I will leave to him to mention a number of topics which are more on his side, like social responsible procurement, the twin transition, pathways, skills. You will get more detail there. I wanted to come to flag a horizontal action, which we are promoting. So linked to recognition and awareness raising. Communication is very important, obviously. And that's why we launched before the summer the Social Economic Gateway, which the ambition really to be a kind of one-stop shop. I know it's a bit of a difficult notion, but really to centralize resources related to social economy, so that all stakeholders can go there and find more information about EU initiatives, about funding, about analysis, country data. But there also I stop here because my colleague Margit will present it to you in a minute. So maybe to wrap up a bit, so coming back to the overview and the timeline at the bottom. So as you could hear, I mean, out of the 60 actions, actually many of them are already launched or even completed for a number of them. We still have a few where we want to work more and or are still ongoing, like the YEPA, I mentioned the workshops, even the implementation of the recommendation will stay with us for a few years. And by 2025, just to flag, we have, as per the Social Economy Action Plan itself, a stock taking exercise, which is planned to take place, so to see what progress has been made. So even though the Social Economy Action Plan runs until 2030, so we want to take stock more or less midway in 2025 to see where we are and maybe whether some activities should be fine-tuned or reoriented a bit depending on the overall evolution of the sector. And then obviously the work will continue. For us, the Council recommendation is really an important vector to work with all member states across all countries and all stakeholders. So really engage you to try and find out more about how it goes in your country, engage with the national and regional authority, because it's not just a national exercise. And so that by the 2030, we will come out in a much better situation. So with full, maybe not full, but better use of the potential of this social economy sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brigitte. I actually have sorry. I have a quick question. So for social finance organizations, microfinance and others that so many are present here at this conference, you know, they many of them actually benefit from the InvestEU instruments. What are the other, you know, ways of effectively, excuse me, engaging with the Social Economy Action Plan in your mind, you know, just so that they fully benefit from it? Sorry, can you repeat?
As regards access to finance.
Sorry, somehow I cannot, I do not understand.
Your questions is on access to finance.
Not necessarily access
to,
beyond access to finance, you know, just how effectively they can engage to also benefit from those other components, you know. I know Margit will be saying a lot about the Social Economy Gateway, which is probably the most logical way to kind of get a sense of all the opportunities that come with the Social Economy Action Plan. But, you know, in your view, you know, what should they do? How should they, you know, get more excited and benefit more from partnerships, from other things that come with the Social Economy Action Plan?
So indeed, so Margit would explain the gateway, and I think the gateway is a very good entry point to at least get a picture and know where you can get information, which is always a difficult part. But otherwise, I think there are other elements where, as I just mentioned, for the Council recommendation, I mean, we really believe that it has to be a participative exercise. So it's not just member states or national or even local authorities that will do it and it just like impose it on the territory. That's not how it works. So really, I mean, that's something we have already discussed with some of the networks. All members should really try to reach out to their public authorities, maybe through the networks, try to understand what is going on, and we try to get involved in this exercise, starting with defining the strategy and then implementing it. I think it's important because, I mean, all territories are different and social economy is really place-based. So, I mean, it just cannot be a one-size-fits-all. So we really need your input there as well. And on maybe initiative, I would say the same. On YEPA, for example, some of the stakeholders are already involved, and those who are not officially, I'm sure that David will share. Now everything is, we have a website and the seminars are web streamed, so feel free, and I would even encourage you to at least listen and share feedback afterwards. Same for the skills. I mean, we have Pact for Skills ongoing. I mean, Pact for Skills, I mean, it's not for us. I mean, it's really for the stakeholders to engage there. I'm sure Karel will talk about the transition pathway very much, I mean, relying on you. So I think there's a lot actually where I mean, it cannot be a top-down exercise, so we really need your involvement. And that's how it will work if we want social economy to develop its potential in the coming years.
Good, super. So it's not top down, it should be bottom up, basically, if I could summarize your message, and then we can hopefully benefit from it. Thank you so much, Brigitte.
We just hope to put in place a frame to help, but then yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brigitte. And over to Margit, who, as we have already mentioned, will give us some guidance how to use the EU Social Economy Gateway. So let me quit the slide so that Margit can actually get to the gateway right away and show us live what it's all about.
Indeed, thanks a lot. So I will give you a quick tour. I have already put the link to the website in the chat for those of you who want to follow directly.
Super, thank you.
And I will share my screen. So I will not go into all the details, but I will show you like some key parts of the gateway so that you find your way around. So here we are on the homepage of the website, the Social Economy Gateway. And it explains a bit the background about the Social Economy Action Plan, and it also lists a bit the target groups of the social economy. So we think it should be useful for public officials, especially those who have not heard yet much about social economy, and they suddenly are supposed to devise strategies for the social economy in their country or their region. So there we think we can give them a bit of a background on the social economy and provide some useful resources. Another important group is obviously the people working in the social economy, be it at management level or individual social entrepreneurs who want to start up their social business, or people just working in I don't know, maybe a foundation or a cooperative or some other type of organization in the social economy who want to know more about EU funding and how it could be useful for them. And the third target group that we think it should be useful is people in generally interested in social economy. So maybe they hear about it somewhere, and then they get interested enough to want to know more. We think, for example, young people who might be interested in entrepreneurship might also have an interest in social entrepreneurship. So that's another target group that we think the website could be useful for. We also still have our feedback form open, so you can just give us your thoughts, what you find useful on the page, what you are still missing, what you would like to see more of, and just give us your feedback until the end of the year. It has been developed with the social economy together, and it's also an ongoing work. So we will still continue to add more content to the page, and you will see it grow over time, especially in the topics in focus section, and for the resources section there as well, it will grow. Then we have the second part that is about the social economy. There we explain a bit the concept. We have our animated video explaining the principles. We have some key figures. They are hopefully we will have better figures next year when a study from DG GROW will be ready. But for now, those are the data more or less that we are using, and we have put a bit of a data disclaimer because the data quality is not always as good as we would like it to be. So that's one of the challenges in the communication, that we want to also develop the database on the social economy and to know better where we are and where we want to go in terms of numbers of the social economy. We provide a bit of the types of organizations, explanations, and the mapping of the social economy stakeholders. That's maybe quite useful for people who are trying to find their way. So there we list a bit the different types of organizations that are relevant for the social economy. We grouped it a bit according to topics, and you will find some networks that you don't know yet and that you might want to reach out to. We also put here like the organization pages so that you can filter a bit with keywords and find their contact details. We also have a bit of a part on the social economy worldwide here that shows you what happens at the global stage, because we had this year the UN declaration for the first time on social economy. And the last year we had the OECD and the ILO who also presented their recommendations on social economy. So there is quite a bit of work going on also at international level that we follow and that we contribute to, and maybe it's also something that you might be interested in to do some partnerships around the globe. There is a lot of potential and a lot of interest in the social economy currently, thankfully. And the third part is about the EU initiatives. So there you will find more details about the Social Economy Action Plan, about the Council recommendation. There is also an ongoing legal proposal that Karel will probably tell us more about. JEPA, the transition pathways, and some other initiatives that are currently open for application. And we also put here a bit public consultations that are somewhat related to social economy, just in case our social economy stakeholders might be interested to submit some views on those topics. And here we also summarized a bit the previous policy developments that had been taking place in the past. And we also feature a bit like who is responsible for the social economy topic inside the European Union. So it's a lot of stakeholders working together, and that gives us people a bit of an idea who is working on the topic. The next section is maybe one of the most interesting one for the participants, as we feature the funding opportunities. So there's some general information about the funding and tender portal, how that works with this video. And then we have selected a number of funding programs that are relevant for the social economy. You can select two types, either call for proposals, which are the concrete calls where you can apply, or the funding programs, which are the big funding programs that have several calls inside them, that you can find out the basics about this funding, and you can then follow that a bit more closely once you have identified those topics that may be of bigger interest for you. So for all the funding programs, you will have the information a bit where it applies to and what the details are. So it explains what the goal of the funding program is, how is it structured, which areas are covered. And we always have this passage on what is in it for the social economy to highlight a bit which are the specific things our stakeholders might be interested in. And then you will find the links where you find more information, how you can apply, and possibly who can provide support when applying to these funding programs. Then the third section is about topicing's focus. There we will add more topics over time, such as social impact measurement, financial instruments could be another one. For the moment, we have skills and state aid, and I'm just opening the state aid here. As Brigitte mentioned, there are quite a bit of opportunities that are not fully used yet. So we wanted to give some guidance how you can use the state aid opportunities for the social economy. That's, of course, mainly for the policymakers and for the ones who are really giving out state aid, for them to understand better what's possible. And we also think it's useful for other stakeholders that can point public officials to this information. And so hopefully expand the number of people who are aware about those possibilities and who might be willing to also use them in their support to the social economy. Last sections, they are also quite big. There is one about In My Country, which features information about the ecosystems in the EU member states. We added a few for non-EU member states as well, but they are not as detailed, obviously. I'm clicking here, for example, on Belgium. So we will always have a bit of a statistics, how developed the social economy is. Again, with our disclaimer on the data quality, so you will see some discrepancies here and there, but it's the best data we currently have available for all the member states to compare them at one point in time. And then for some member states, we have newer data available, and we will see, you will see more details. What is important, you will also have a lot of feedback on the networks. So you will find possible contact points in your country that you might want to be in touch with, and that we hope is useful for those who are starting out and trying to find their way in their country and to find the right contact points. And we also have some testimonial videos for some countries. last two sections, the useful resources. So there you will find studies, some videos, some EU websites that are useful. We will restructure it a bit to make it more easy to go through. Currently, it has a lot of things put together, and yeah, we will create some sub-pages so it's a bit easier to add more information. You will also find the research centers and other useful links, and our communication toolkit with the links to the videos, etc. And the last section, that's the one on the ground. That is sort of a blog type section where stakeholders from the social economy can share their information. You can contact us and suggest topics if you want to describe your project or an upcoming event or whatever you might want to feature on the Gateway. So that will also grow over time, and we think that it will be interesting to hear some stories firsthand. So sorry for taking a bit of time, but as you see, it's quite a big website, and we hope you can explore more and find the stuff that you are most interested in on the Gateway. And if not, let us know. We will try to include it in the future updates.
Super, thank you, Margit. So maybe you could give like 2 or 3 tips for social finance organizations that are present here, you know, just how they can best take advantage of this portal. What would you advise them to do?
Yeah, I think it would really make sense to explore a bit the networks, so the mapping of the stakeholders, to see like which topics sound interesting to them, and then maybe they can get in touch with the networks that are interesting for them, either in their member state or in like at European level. And like there are a certain, yeah, it depends a bit if you want to stay more inside the microfinance topic, or if you want to reach beyond. Maybe there is some way to build partnerships, and that like the networks can be a way to find your way. And also it might be good to be aware what's happening in your region or in your member state. It depends a bit from country to country, like how much power the regions have. So if it's a very centralized country, then it may not be as easy to talk to people in the ministry. But if you're in a situation where like the regions also have quite a bit of influence on how they shape their social economy ecosystem, then it may also be worth getting in touch with them and maybe flag the Gateway to them to get them interested in the social economy topic. And of course, exploring the funding opportunities. For that, you are certainly aware about the InvestEU portal. So there's the link also on the Gateway to those informations. So there's a lot of information available, and we're trying to help people navigate the variety, because as you see on the Gateway, there is a lot going on, and it's not always easy to find the stuff that is relevant for you. So we hope that the Gateway will contribute a bit to helping people navigate the social economy ecosystems.
Super. And can people actually register their institutions or themselves and get maybe a newsletter?
So currently we only feature the networks at European level, and for the if they are at national level, we are happy to add the link to the country pages. So it's not a page where you can log in or create your user profile or something, but you can get in touch with us to suggest that you want to be included in the country page. So that's always an opportunity. And you will find at the bottom of the page the functional mailbox where you can reach us. So no problem, just let us know. And unless it's like super, like if someone, I don't know, a very obscure organization wants to be added that doesn't have to do anything with microfinance or social economy, then obviously we might not add anything blindly, but everything that makes sense, we will be happy to add.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. Thank you for this overview. And let me now turn to David to tell us a few words about the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy. What actually is it, and what relevance does it have to social finance organizations, institutions? David, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just getting my PowerPoint ready to share. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
So I think
Yes, we have it.
here we go. There we go. So let's get into it. So
You
we've
could
already
just
heard
okay, super.
a little bit about the Youth Entrepreneurship Policy Academy. So what is it exactly is the question you just asked. Well, it's a policy learning network. And what that means is we've built a platform with our partners in DG Employment to facilitate exchanges amongst different stakeholders involved in supporting young entrepreneurs. And so the goal is to help spread good practices across regions and countries, and also to help disseminate knowledge about innovations in this area. So it's a unique opportunity to have direct dialogues between governments and young entrepreneurs directly face to face, talking about what the different challenges are, whether the current solutions are working, and to work together to identify potential future solutions. So why we are doing this is to help improve labor market outcomes for young people. Now, the motivation for building this platform was really coming out of the economic crisis during the COVID pandemic, which of course was the second major economic crisis faced in the past 15 years. And in both instances, we saw that young people were impacted very heavily. Their lives were interrupted, their schooling was interrupted, and the pathways to work became much more difficult. And these have serious negative consequences for young people that last a lifetime. You know, there's a lot of evidence that suggests that long spells of unemployment early on in somebody's career has consequences for the rest of their career. They never quite make up the gap in earnings that they experience, and they're also more likely to become unemployed in the future. So it's really a priority issue for both EU governments as well as governments in OECD countries. So this platform tries to help address some of these challenges. And as you can see on the right-hand side, it's a network that has about 150 participants. And these participants come from a range of different actors. We've got about 2 or 3 government participants in each EU country, as well as about 2 youth entrepreneurship networks or organizations, as well as various other experts, which could be researchers or program managers. And on the right, you'll see we've also got a group of international stakeholders. And so these are comprised of international youth entrepreneurship networks, as well as social entrepreneurship networks, which is, of course, one of the major themes covered in all of the activities of this network. So we launched this new initiative in March of this year, on March 9 and 10. And we've got a few photos here. We had a really great time in Brussels. Everybody came together face to face. And it was kicked off by one of the OECD Deputy Secretary Generals, as well as EU Commissioner Schmidt. And so they really set the scene. And then we had a series of panel discussions that featured young entrepreneurs talking about their experiences. We had policymakers talking about some of the new activities that are happening across different countries and some of the challenges that they face. And then we had several breakout sessions where people got together to brainstorm on future directions and what needs to be done in the future. And so we followed the launch event up with a series of online workshops. We've got 6 of them planned, well, 7 if you count the kickoff, over the next 3 years. And so in 2023, we've organized the first 2. And what we wanted to do was really create a platform for dialogue. And we thought that that might be difficult with 150 people. So we decided to break the 150 people into 3 groups. So we've got 3 groups of about 45 or 50 people that got together on 3 occasions this year. First, we had a kickoff for each group where people could meet each other, talk about their interests in their work and what they're hoping to get out of the initiative. And we also worked with the OECD EU Better Entrepreneurship Policy Tool, which you might have come across before. It's we'll call it a self-reflection or self-assessment tool that allows individuals to reflect in a systematic way about the conditions in their local area or their country if they wish, with respect to entrepreneurship by underrepresented groups. So by that, I mean young people or women or immigrants, etc. And there's also a big module on social entrepreneurship. So you can also walk through that framework, considering the conditions for social entrepreneurship. And then it gives you a result about how you would compare to the gold standard in current policy practice. And there are a lot of resources in there. So anyway, in our groups, we worked with that tool to try to take stock of the current state of youth entrepreneurship policy. And we had discussions around that. And then we had 2 thematic workshops. The first one was on access to finance. And so we had 3 workshops in June, 1 for each group, on access to finance for young entrepreneurs and young social entrepreneurs. And we covered specifically the themes of microfinance, blockchain, and crowdsourcing. So we had a series of good practice presentations. We had issues notes that were presented and discussed. And then we had activities where the different participants could get together and dig into the issues a little bit and learn from each other. So in the spirit of peer learning. And then the second workshop was a bit different in that we handed over the topic to the groups. So the groups could pick the topic that they wanted to cover. And so we had 3 different topics. One was green entrepreneurship, one was supporting innovative startups, and one was about the gender gap among young entrepreneurs, so supporting young women entrepreneurs. So in terms of the plans for the initiative, as we said, we've got a 3-year little program here, and we've just finished the first year of it. And so we will keep going. And we've got 2 additional workshops planned next year. The first one will be on social entrepreneurship. And then the following one will be, again, an instance where the groups pick the topic that they want to cover. So we'll be using surveys to identify that for each group. Then in the 3rd year, we've got 2 workshops. One will be on skills, so different mechanisms to support the development of entrepreneurship skills among young people. And by that, I mean, business management skills, as well as some of the softer skills that entrepreneurs tend to have, managing relationships, managing risk, and so on. And then the last workshop will be on policy design and implementation. And then we'll all get together as a big group at the end of year 3 in Brussels. And so the only other point I would note here is that you might remember I said we've got groups, 3 groups of 50 participants. And so actually we're going to mix the groups each year. So we're about to do that, and that will give all of the different participants an opportunity to meet everyone from across all of the countries. So one of the questions I wanted to put out there was, how can you participate? How can all of you here in the room in this event engage with YEPA? Well, there are different ways. The low-level access would be to follow the activities and to access all of the notes and other materials like videos, etc., through the website, which is there, yepahub.org. We also have a newsletter that you could sign up to through the website. And those go about once per quarter, and they provide information about the YEPA initiative, as well as some of the actions that some of the participants are doing in their countries. And as we said, February 2024, social entrepreneurship. And then the next one will be in June on topics picked by each group. Now, the YEPA is, of course, a standalone initiative, but it's also quite closely linked to several other activities that the OECD is doing in partnership with DG Employment. And one of the other activities that we're very excited about is the Missing Entrepreneurs Report series. And for your information, we've got the 2023 edition being launched next week on the 30th of November. So there'll be an online launch event with officials from both the European Commission and the OECD. We've got a great panel of entrepreneurs who will be joining the discussion. And so we'll present the key messages from the report and have a discussion about some of the main findings. You're all most welcome to come. If you can't click on the link or you can't get the PowerPoint, you could go back to the YEPA website. There's also a link there, or perhaps I'll put it in the chat after. So this report features different chapters on different target groups, and young people is one of the groups that is prominently featured. There are 2 chapters in this edition, reporting on trends and also looking at the effectiveness of schemes. And then just to quickly wrap up, there are also key synergies with other actions at the OECD. Last year, there was a recommendation from the OECD Council to improve public support for young people. And so all OECD countries adhere to this recommendation, as well as a number of others that sign up. And basically, it's like a pledge, and we have to report on the progress made against these recommendations. And it is notable that entrepreneurship is covered in Pillar 2. And so, all of these activities that I've showed you, the YEPA, the Missing Entrepreneurs, this recommendation and toolkit that we're building are all closely linked, and they all feed into each other. We've produced a lot of information over the years with DG Employment. If you Google inclusive entrepreneurship, OECD, European Commission, you should easily find the website where you can access all of these materials. There are a lot of materials related to access to finance. We also have a lot of materials related to social entrepreneurship. So I would encourage you to look at all of those resources that are available. And I thank you very much for paying attention. And I hope to see you at a YEPA event in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. So if I could ask a bit of a basic question, but is the idea for YEPA to actually educate, to train a group of young enthusiasts of social economy that would promote the concept in their countries, in their regions, in their communities? Is this the idea? Or is it to just to create a platform where the policy meets actually with young people and gets feedback from them? I wasn't very clear on this.
Yeah, I think it's more the latter. It's more about improving public policy.
Okay.
And so we've got a dialogue where there can be peer learning across the different countries.
Mm-hmm.
But the unique element is that, as you said, we've got governments sitting down at the table with young entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
and social entrepreneurs so that they can directly talk to each other and try to have a better understanding of the challenges faced by entrepreneurs. And similarly, the challenges that policymakers have when they're designing and implementing policies. And they can learn from each other and try to strengthen the policy environment across countries. So it is not a training program for entrepreneurs.
Super. Thanks for this clarification, and also thanks for mentioning the Missing Entrepreneurs report. I actually use it a lot. I'm quite glad that the new edition is coming up. I also encourage microfinance programs to review it. Actually, they will find a lot of information that's relevant to their programs and activities and to their planning. So thank you, David, so much. And let me now turn to Karol. And we'll hear about the sustainable transitions of organizations to social economy and aligning with social economy action plan, and how to align with social economy action plan objectives. We do not have that much time, but hopefully Karol will do a good job of explaining what this transition should look like.
Of course, thank you very much. Just to be clear, do we really have till 11, or can I go a bit over time?
Let's get a bit over. We also have one question that I would like to address. So,
okay, I will try to stay within the time frame. I do my best, of course. Could you just confirm that you can see my screen? Okay, wonderful. I'll also make this a bit smaller so you don't have a black box. Thank you very much, dear Gregor. My name is indeed Karol van der Poort. I'm a colleague of Brigitte and Margit in the European Commission. I'm working for DG GROW, more precisely DG Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship and SMEs. As Margit and Brigitte highlighted, we collaborate very closely on the topic of social economy. with our sister unit in DG Employment and Social Affairs. And we are responsible for certain elements of the Social Economy Action Plan. Obviously, you will see that on my first slide. On the left side, we are mainly engaged in the two first pillars of the Social Economy Action Plan. And what is very interesting from our point of view, and also, of course, from our competence, is that we link this to the industrial strategy. For many people, this might sound a bit odd. So there is always a need for a short explanation in that regard. So the industrial strategy was reviewed in 2021, and it identified 14 industrial ecosystems. And what is very new and interesting for the social economy is that social economy is prominently recognized in proximity and social economy ecosystem. A few advantages are, of course, present in that regard. First of all, that social economy is now also subject to the annual single market report, which is an annual report that makes the state of play about SMEs, for example, in the single market, but also the functioning of the single market as such. And also, social economy is now present in the monthly business confidence indicators, which gives an idea about the development, the challenges of social economy. Those confidence indicators were very helpful, of course, in the aftermath of COVID-19. But what is even more important is that the industrial strategy announced the design, the co-creation, as we say, of a series of transition pathways for each of those 14 industrial ecosystems, so also for the social economy. We have done this during 2022, almost 1 year of, let's say, various workshops, interactions with stakeholders, but also public representatives at all kind of levels, to come up with a final report that puts forward 14 action areas and 30 specific actions to foster the green and digital transition. And that's one important element where DG GROW is very much focusing on supporting social economy, as also Brigitte already highlighted in her presentation. So today we identified those 14 action areas, and this is somehow the blueprint of many of our initiatives. I will come to that in the next slide, please.
Hang on, just a little bit. Now, so here.
Okay, you can go to the next slide.
Is it, you cannot see the next slide? Funny, we have some problems now.
You can go to the next slide, to slide number 4, please.
Oh, number 4, okay.
Okay, perfect. At this slide, you will see the 14 action areas. So we have 7 green action areas and 7 digital action areas. You will see that those are very precise, and those are very oriented to specific areas related to the green transition, such as, for example, the creation of local Green Deal partnerships, fostering business communities that are engaging with each other to deliver on certain green innovations, green energy at a local level, but also attaching their value chains to each other, for example, when it comes to circular economy. There is an important element of certification, for example. So green certificates, but also the development of sector-specific certificates within the social economy is another aspect that was very prominently into the discussions. Could you go back to the slide number 4? Yeah, thank you very much. On the other hand, we have, of course, various elements on the digital transition within social economy. The platform economy is very much prominent, with specific interpretations, as I may say, such as the platform cooperatives, but also the use of data in a very specific manner. So the digital commons movement is a very important element in that regard, but also elements, for example, related to access to technology, how to make technology affordable, adaptable, to the principles of the social economy. but also how do we have the specific skill set available within social economy organizations to make those technologies implementable in their processes, and also to use them, for example, in terms of e-commerce, for example, in terms of having, let's say, a PR development related with digital means, social media, and so forth. But it might also go very much in-house type of technologies, promoting a more efficient process management within social enterprise. So all these things you will find basically in the report called the Transition Pathway for Proximity and Social Economy. Very targeted elements you may find there, because it's also necessary to identify those elements. So this is the structure of the transition pathway. And on the next slide, can you please? You will see how we will implement this now, because there's one thing to identify the necessary actions, but it's another thing to also be able to deliver on those. And there we, on the one hand, of course, we see an importance from the Commission. So what can the Commission do to support the sectoral agents, sectoral peers in their transition from the green or digital perspective? But on the other hand, we also ask for a sort of commitment from the stakeholders themselves. I will come back later to that. To give you a few examples on how the Commission supports, first of all, we are now currently developing a stakeholder platform, an interactive platform where businesses, intermediate or enabling organizations from the social economy can find access to, where they can set up joint projects, where they are stimulated to share knowledge, to set up capacity building initiatives, but also, for example, to apply jointly for European funding instruments that support a green and digital transition. Some of these support instruments were already developed in the last year. So we had a big call of 6 million euros that supports the green transition of social economy. A similar call just closed today, unfortunately, on the digital transition of social economy worth 8 million euros. These calls are very much focusing on capacity building on the intermediate level and on the SMEs on the other hand. The next element that we are currently developing is a code of conduct for data sharing and data management in the social economy. You can join the team, the drafting committee, to set up this code of conduct, because we want to really have it a sector-led initiative, and the Commission is there to facilitate. So if you want to join this drafting committee, the call is open till the 8th of December. Of course, when it comes to upskilling and reskilling, there are many initiatives. I think the colleagues also addressed it in previous presentations, on how the skills partnership, so the Pact for Skills for Proximity and Social Economy, is under development, which is linked to various funding instruments that support social economy, and, for example, designing specific curricula and designing specific trainings that are addressing the skills gaps within the social economy, called the Blueprint for Sectoral Skills. We have already 3 major projects developing such curricula. On the next slide, we come to the potential engagement of sectoral peers and stakeholders. So we do that with a call for pledges. Maybe you've heard about it. We call sectoral actors to make a pledge, to submit an initiative, a project, a proposal, a strategy that they are developing on one of those 14 action areas that I mentioned, or something that is very much related. I would warmly invite you to join this movement, this group of engagement takers, which are already 123 pledge takers today. You can do it via the link. I will also share it in the chat afterwards. And why would you make such a pledge? Because simply it gives an impression to the Commission what frontrunners in the social economy are doing related to the green or digital transition. But it is also your access ticket, so your ticket to the stakeholder platform that I mentioned earlier, and it can also be a very important way to be subject of a matchmaking that Commission will organize to bring certain partners together across the EU and to create this cross-fertilization on very specific topics, for example, on data sharing activities and data-driven business models, as I mentioned earlier. On the next slide, I will mention a few of the initiatives that we also have under the Single Market Program to support access to markets of social economy. Could you go to the next slide, please?
Try to go to the next slide, but moving. She's refused to.
The technology is not really helping me today. Is it's stuck, or I can just continue without
images. I'm trying to go to the slide,
I will just continue, no worries. If you have the slides, you can picture it.
I have to stop sharing, and then we'll try.
No worries. A first important element when it comes to support of businesses in scaling up and access to markets is, of course, public procurement. We know that social economy organizations are very keen on engaging with public authorities, delivering services, but also products. But therefore, social responsible public procurement is something that we should support. We do this, first of all, on raising awareness, communication, etc., but also building capacity of public authorities to build also social clauses within their public procurement assignment. So that is a very important thing, because we see that too few public authorities are using the ability to favor social economy organizations in that regard. But also the private side should better engage. We promote at least private buyers to engage more with social economy enterprises in strategic partnerships, to buy services from them, to go into a certain business relationship. So this is very much focusing on the B2B market, where we bring social economy actors closer to their peers, their mainstream business counterparts. Another element in how we want to scale up and include business support networks is to bring social economy also more present and visible in the mainstream established networks, such as, for example, the Enterprise Europe network, the European Cluster Movement, but also Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs, where social enterprises are greatly making advantage of by going into exchanges across the EU and to experience business, let's say, capacity in other enterprises across the EU. And the next slide, you will see the partnership shaping that we are currently promoting. So how do we create networks of social economy actors? How do we promote also cooperation and matchmaking across the EU? First of all, since 2018, we have the European Social Economy Regions movement, a very interesting partnership led by public authorities from the local or regional level. They are known to be real drivers for social economy at the local level, to develop local strategies or action plans. And we bring them together at the European level to also exchange, to learn from each other. How can you, as a public or local authority, a local or regional authority, promote such social economy ecosystem? This call to join this network, it's only for public authorities, is continuously open. So we are happy to always receive new regions or cities that want to join this network. One of the advantages of joining this network is also to be eligible to become a partner in the social economy missions. So we want to promote exchanges between those regional or local authorities. So therefore, we set up specific calls to allow missions between those. So basically, it's a mission from, for example, a public authority in Poland that travels together with a group of social entrepreneurs to a public authority in France to learn on a similar subject. For example, when it comes to setting up a microfinance scheme. So that is a very specific element that might be of interest. And of course, social innovation is another element that was already touched upon by the colleagues of employment. Also, we approach this with a competition, a very specific competition, calling for new innovators, new business models related to a certain topic. This year it was energy poverty. We just finished the competition, and the next cycle will start in Q2 of next year. And we also create an alumni network for those social innovators that want to keep in touch with each other, but also learn across sectoral boundaries. So that's it for me. I'm sorry for the technical hiccups. I hope it was not too disturbing, and you could still got the main message. I will share for you the call for pledges in the chat. So if you are willing to engage in this process and also to position yourself as basically a front runner in the green and digital transition, it would be very nice to have you on board. You still have 9 days to join us in this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol, and apologies also from my side from that.
No worries, no worries.
Technological hiccups. We have extended the session a little bit. There was one question that I would like to be responded. It came from Greece, and it was about the possibility of applying for funding for a microfinance organization that is under the process of registration. Could anyone respond to this? I guess the answer is that you have to be formalized to apply, but perhaps there are some startup opportunities. Brigitte, would you like to maybe to answer this question?
I can give a few elements. The main answer would be it depends, I guess. If you are talking about our calls for proposals, for example, we'll have more this business development support and accompanying measures. I mean, if because I understand we're talking about the requirement of the national law, actually. But if under a new call we just state that as an eligibility criterion you have to be an established MFI, then you have to be established. So I think it really depends. But many of our calls are not limitative in terms of who can take part. So, for example, if we just say we want entities from the sector, if you're an established entity, even if you don't have your license yet, it could work. So it really has to be checked on a case-by-case basis. Sorry, I cannot be more precise, but I think the answer, it really depends.
Okay, good. Thank you for that, for this answer. So we came to the end of the session. So let me thank all of our experts, speakers for this very interesting presentation. It's an exciting movement and also moment in our history, and I think a great opportunity for many organizations that are present here. We've heard about many resources and initiatives that I would encourage all of you to think about and eventually to engage for the benefit of the people that you work with and for the benefit for your organization. So thank you so much. Thank you, David, Brigitte, Margit, and Karel. And yes, thank you all participants for this. Again, apologies for any technical problems we have had, and I would like to invite you to the other sessions of this conference. Thanks a lot. We'll have a quick evaluation survey. If you could just respond to it, I think that would be great. That will give us a sense if this session was useful to you. It seems that yes. To many of you, it was actually useful. Very good. Always nice to hear that. Very good. Thank you for participating in this call, and see you at the other conference session. Thank you.